Hey, this is Dani, and the channel is You and Me Living Free. And I'm sorry the lighting is not the best right now, but I was just sitting in the van doing some editing. I am in a glorious spot. I will pan the camera around here at the end and show you. But I just left Colorado Springs, and I have been increasingly disappointed and find it harder and harder to find legitimate spots to park in urban areas overnight, either because it's an area that has a lot of attractions like Colorado Springs, or because it's an area that I'm just trying to drive through and stop for one night and move on. So when I was coming to Colorado Springs, a couple of my go-tos are Cracker Barrels and Walmarts. And so I will look for them on IOverlander, and then if IOverlander says that it's okay spot, I will still call ahead and ask. Actually, that's not true. I would always call ahead and ask on Walmarts. I have never called ahead and asked on Cracker Barrels because I thought it was a Cracker Barrel corporate policy that they all allowed overnight parking. I have never called to check, and I guess I should have, even though in every Cracker Barrel I've ever been to, there have been other overnighters, and I have never had a knock or anything. But now I will start calling them as well. Cracker Barrel and Walmart do not allow overnight parking in Colorado Springs. I was lucky enough to have family in the area and I use their driveway. But I wanted to show you, I'm having trouble not only just with local laws and stuff that prohibit sleeping in your vehicle, which is the case here in Colorado Springs, but also from the apps that are trying to direct us. Like I like to use IOverlander, but I'm moving more and more away from it. I also use freecampsites.net and some other sources. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to walk you through and show you, because you will look at an area in IOverlander like I did for Colorado Springs, and you will see so many of the little green dots that they have with the logo for free camping. And you'll see so many of them, you're just like, okay, no problem. Then when you really dig in and think, okay, exactly where am I going to stay? This attraction is on this side of town. What's around here that I can do? And you really start digging in, and you find listing after listing after listing that have these caveats that are really not legitimate, that really have laws against them, that really aren't, that people know they're not supposed to park there, and they park there anyway and listed on IOverlander. So this is part of this is an IOverlander problem, definitely, but it's also just an overall problem of, we have COVID shutting things down, and I know when I was traveling in California, Washington, Oregon last summer, a lot of those parking lots had closed because of COVID, and then they just never opened them back up. And then we have this surge of people buying RVs, getting on the road, living in vans, all of this stuff, doing exactly what I'm doing, traveling more and wanting to be out and about more and more people. At the same time, we're having more and more limitation on us, and it's causing problems. It's causing challenges. I'm not normally a planner, and it is forcing me more and more into planning mode because I have to have a place to put my head at night. And unlike a lot of people, I do not want to park somewhere that they don't want me to park. If you don't want me there, then I don't want to be there. And that is for anything in life, whether you're a person and if you're in a relationship, if you don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, right? If they don't want me in their parking lot, then I don't want to be there. So I'm going to share, I did find a couple of places, one for sure and one that's sketchy to stay in Colorado Springs. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to go through these screens from IOverlander, and I'm going to show you how problematic, and how just because you look and see a bunch of opportunities doesn't mean any of them are going to pan out. And so let's do this. Let's just go, and I'll just flash the pictures and talk you through them as we go. Okay, here's the map of Colorado Springs. Not a lot in the city, but there's still plenty of green, especially to the northeast. You're kind of optimistic. So let's pick a dot and dig in next to Camping World. So you can't park at Camping World, but maybe next to it. IOverlander cannot verify if wild camping is permitted in this area. Okay. Between a Love's and a Microtel. This is already sounding sketchy, right? And look at this. IOverlander has not marked this with the red, we cannot verify mark. It looks legit. This person thinks it's legit. But what you don't know is there's another listing right next to this for the same space. And here's what they said. Arrived at 3. Let's just read this for a second. Arrived 3 p.m. Asked a trucker about resting here, and he said they don't like truckers to park here, but they didn't mind RVs. Curbs are painted red, and I took my chances. Stayed all night unmolested by anyone. Okay, I don't know about you, but I am definitely not going to this place on the red curb. You're like, hey, there's still plenty of green dots. Let's check another one. Disc golf. IOverlander cannot verify. The reason they cannot verify, because we see a little further down, moderator note, place removed because camping is illegal. Signs are posted and enforced. Here's another one. This one kind of cracks me up. El Paso Island. So IOverlander cannot verify. Okay, I'm going to read this guy's listing. Number 1, it's from 2 years ago, and there hasn't been any listing since. So that means nobody has gone there and then posted about it in the last 2 years. What does that tell you? He's saying this little spot is an exception to those laws in Colorado Springs that don't allow parking there. Several big pullouts. He says it's far from idyllic. It's next to train tracks. There's mess, there's garbage, there's industrial area and noise. But basically, he didn't think it was too bad. Well, I don't know about you, but I would not be going to this place. If I did, maybe I would make a phone call. But it sounds really sketchy. Okay, here's Planet Fitness in Colorado Springs. You're like, wow, maybe this can work. Planet Fitness, there's a bunch of truckers there, blah, blah, blah. The next listing says, not a safe place. Security goes around and knocks. I don't know, man. Again, I would definitely have to call these people, and it doesn't seem like anybody's making the phone calls, really. Parking opposite of Walmart, because they won't let you park in Walmart. We parked at Walmart Supercenter in Colorado Springs, but there was no overnight signs everywhere. I don't even know what to say to this person. For anybody who has a van and maybe has a really good stealth mode, maybe you want to try it. Not me. This is not my cup of tea. Wichita, pay to park. This is downtown Manitou Springs. Manitou Springs is a huge touristy area. They pay to park everywhere. You can hardly find a free parking spot in Manitou Springs. And yet this person says it's free parking from 11 p.m. to 7. The only reason they don't have rates from 11 p.m. to 7 is because it's illegal to park anywhere from 11 p.m. to 7. Come on. I was at this lot and I know it is illegal. And yet, look at IOverlander. There's nothing in red here that says they haven't verified that you can park there for free. So according to IOverlander, it looks pretty legit. Street parking in Manitou Springs. Again, nothing in Manitou Springs. This place has been marked closed. At least they're up on that one. And then Scenic overlook. We can imagine how this is going to play out, right? Some people are going to go here just because they don't get a knock, but it's definitely not legal to go to the Scenic overlook. Bass Pro. Now this looks promising. These people say that they stayed there for 3 days. Not only did they do that, but they asked permission. Now this looks pretty good to me. It is on the north side of town, north of Colorado Springs, but still, it's better than nothing if you're passing through. So we found a couple of possibly legit spots and made one really decent option of that Bass Pro where they have permission and everything. Also, I don't want to be negative. Colorado Springs is beautiful. IOverlander has its challenges, but the only time I really have a lot of challenge in finding a free place overnight is when I want to be in an urban area or around something specific that I need to be. Generally, I can go around this stuff and I can find other places like Salida, Colorado, which is the next spot that I went to. And I promised I would share with you my camping spot here, which is glorious. I also want to note, this is just out of the side door of the van, the picture of the mountains. And this is actually surrounded by mountains. And I'll show you the listing on IOverlander. So it says Shavano Mountain. You can see Salida. It looks like Alida, but it's just cut off a little bit by a dot. Shavano Mountain, wild camping, and there's the GPS there at the bottom. Now we know I'm showing you pictures. I am here. I have seen the signs. It is legit for 14 days. And yet, IOverlander says we cannot verify. So this is a problem. What can I tell you? I'm still searching for solutions to this myself. And the only reason I knew to even go here, because typically if I see that on IOverlander, I won't even check out a spot. The only reason I knew to go here anyway, even though IOverlander said that, was because I was in a Facebook group with a bunch of other RVers, and they were all meeting here and gave this location. And that is the only reason I knew it was still legit. And I was able to ask them, hey, are the roads passable and that kind of stuff. So I'm still working on this problem. I don't have the solutions, but I am going to keep you posted and let you know things that I find that work for me. And hopefully they'll work for you too. And we have come to the end of another video, and you know what that means. Huge thank you for being here. It means so much to me that this content means anything at all to anyone but me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my patrons. I love you. For only $3 a month, you too can be a patron and join us over there on Patreon. The link is in the description. And so that's it for this video. I will catch you next time. Sending a ton of love. Bye-bye.